Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this blustery late winter's afternoon here in the western fringes of the Kruger National Park. My name is James Hendry, and this is Safari Live.
Ready. Standing by.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
And again, here we are. Brian is on camera with me today, and he has got a stickman thumb.
Lovely.
It's an interesting one, certainly. Good. On the other vehicle today, Brent Leo Smith. He is being filmed by VM Duren Braak. They will not be live for much of the afternoon, I don't think, because they have to do some filming for some stuff that we have to do for Nat.Geo Wild. That's why you were with Brent this whole the whole morning. But we are on a live safari, if you're wondering what this is that you've stumbled across, and that means that we'd love to talk to you during the course of the next 3 hours. If you're on Twitter, you may talk to us using the hashtag Safari Live. Otherwise, or you can use the email questions@WildEarthTV. It is a fairly balmy, sort of 29 degrees Celsius, or 85, was it, degrees Fahrenheit. Now, I mean, it's the 20th of August, so we are going into the kind of springtime, but that's still pretty warm. Apparently a few fronts, the last of the winter fronts, starting to hit the country from the south in the Cape, and they'll probably hit us during the course of next week, but certainly the daytime temperatures in the absence of the fronts has started to warm up quite a lot. And it smells like August, it really does. The winds have been blowing, the dust is in the air, and it's a really exciting, expectant time of the year. You are most welcome, and we're going to see what we can find now. There were mating leopards at the pan this morning sometime. Brent last heard them in this area. I also heard them in this area. We're going to look around here, see what we can find. We might be lucky. I know Brent did spend about 2 hours looking for them this morning, so they're obviously not wanting to be found, but we might be lucky. Otherwise, we'll see what else we can find. The other magical creatures of this wilderness that we're so lucky to call home. Are you ready, Brian?
I'm ready.
Excellent. Here we go. Hold on, everyone. We're back to a sedate pace, because if you drive much faster than this, you're likely to miss mating leopards that are sitting in the bushes. Now we're going to keep an eye underneath the bushes, and we're going to keep an eye on the tops of the trees, and we're going to keep an eye everywhere else. And while we are keeping an eye on everything and everyone, let's head across to Brent and get his welcome.
Welcome to a beautifully warm Djuma private game reserve here on this wonderful Saturday evening. My name is Brent. I have the incredible VM on camera. And after my dismal performance finding mating leopards this morning, I've washed my hands and sent James to the west, and I am going after lions to start the safari. No one managed to look for the inkahumas this morning, so I'm going to go have a quick dabble in that area. But it is a wonderfully warm 29 degrees Celsius, which is about 83 Fahrenheit. It was a very warm sunrise safari starting at over 70 this morning. So is winter over? Have the hot summer month begun? Or does August have another cold spell in store for us? So because no one called in any tracks of the Impala prior to this morning, we've started on our eastern boundary, making sure there's no sign of them heading to visit Torchwood. So far so good, and we've done about half of the road. Now, I think I might delve down towards Drakensberg Road. See if there are any tracks along there. Now there is a sort of really warm wind blowing. Sometimes those winds are referred to as berg winds. They can bring bad weather. Hopefully not. And when I say bad weather, I don't necessarily mean rain, which would be quite welcome. I mean hot, gusting winds, dust storms and such. Now remember, we are on a live African safari, so if you would like to ask me any questions, please feel free. Questions at WildEarthTV if you're an emailer, or if you're a little more advanced in using the Twitter sphere, just use the hashtag SafariLive. Now, those mating leopards gave us an incredibly difficult time last night, and the one of the main reasons was the fact that, strangely enough, it doesn't happen very often, but we were the only vehicle in over 2,500 acres. So there were no guests, and no one from Buffelshoek, no one from Cheetah Plains on Djuma this morning. So we had to work quite hard all by ourselves. Now, hi, Marsha. Marsha's been watching for just over a month, and she says it's very surprising that we haven't seen any rhinos. Well, Marsha, it's not that we haven't seen rhinos, it's just that you haven't seen rhinos. So unfortunately, with the plight of the rhino in South Africa at the moment, and this being a live African safari, we do not put rhinos on camera. So they are here, all over the place, everywhere and nowhere at the same time. But yes, there are rhinos here. We don't show them on the live safaris, as there is a very minuscule possibility that someone with nefarious intent might be watching. Hope that explains that for you, Marsha. The snoozing little Steenbokkie. Got him, Vian? Just to the right of the dead tree, there he is. Oh, that's a really big male. Now, he's obviously an adult. Now, with Steenbok, to tell how big they are, you need to look at his horns. And if his horns are longer than his ears, he's a prime specimen. He's a dominant Steenbok ram. Now, of course, they also get affected by the drought, less so than a lot of the other animals. They are non-water dependent species, so they do not need to drink. They get enough moisture from dew in the mornings and from what they eat. They will dig out tubers and little things like that to get the moisture they need. Very widespread little antelope throughout southern Africa, from some very wet areas to some incredibly dry areas, living all the way into the Kalahari Desert. Now, they live in monogamous pairs, and there's probably a female not too far away. You can see how well his camouflage works as we zoom out. And they get their name Steenbok because they keep as still as stone as one of their defense mechanisms against predators. They just don't move. And while we go from the smallest one, actually I think it is the smallest antelope we've seen on Safari Live, James has got the biggest.
I'm not sure it's the biggest. I'm not sure that this is as big as a large wildebeest cow. That is a kudu, everyone. A kudu cow, no horns. And she is beautifully coloured for this remarkable vegetation that you see in front of us. And while it is going to look very wintry for the next month or so, this is the business end of the dry season. And I'm always interested, the expectation of this time of the year is such that you expect the trees to go green very quickly and the grass to do the same, and it always takes rather longer than you think it's going to. Despite the fact that I've been in this area for more than a decade, That's certainly how I feel. Now, these kudu are sitting around where we were hoping we might find the tracks of Tingana and his consort. Now, I would be interested to hear from you, especially if you have a differing opinion. Apparently, the consensus was that this was Shadow that was mating yesterday evening. I saw bits of video, I saw a few blurry photographs, and I certainly wouldn't be able to identify her from those, but I believe that most of you believe that she was Shadow, and I think there are some spot patterns that you managed to find on her, and so, you know, in the face of that sort of evidence, I'm going to go with Shadow. Anybody have a different opinion? I'd love to hear from you. #SafariLive, questions at WildEarthTV if you'd like to tell me. Now, off to the left, a much larger group of kudu. Now, Joyce, you're in New Hampshire, and you've asked the question that demands us to deal with the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room, of course, being, if Shadow is mating, where is Zara, her cub? And the answer to that, Joyce, is most likely a war indeed. But we do know that Shadow has come into estrus before the independence of her cubs before. It is not impossible that Zara is fine, and that Shadow is just mating again because her cycle is slightly off whack. Now, I am a slight proponent of the latter theory, and that is because we know that Shadow has yet to raise a successful cub to independence. She was getting pretty close with Sindile when he caught that dog and got rabies, or he didn't get rabies, thankfully, but we thought he might. And but obviously he was then put into rehab. But before that, she had failed as a 9-year-old leopard to raise even one cub to independence. Now, that tells me that she's either the unluckiest leopard in the Sabi Sands, or something's amiss. And I wonder, when we saw her coming into estrus so early during Sindile's life, I think he was 8 months when she first came into estrus again. That's very, very young for a male leopard to try and go independent. It's not impossible for a female, but for a male, very young. We thought maybe there was an answer there to why she hadn't had successfully raised any cubs. And, well, here she's doing it again. I mean, it's obviously not her fault. She has definitely had some bad luck, absolutely. But maybe this is the reason she hasn't managed to raise even one. And when you compare her with the successfulness that her mother has displayed from a very early age, well, it's difficult to think that it's purely luck. This is a magnificent herd of kudu, and they seem to be congregating more and more as their food starts to concentrate in certain areas, so these herds will get slightly bigger. Action-packed kudu sighting. Look at the white tail there flicking through the bush. Monty, you want to know when these kudu are going to have their youngsters. Monty, it won't be as timed as the Impala, but it will certainly be semi-timed, and you'll probably find that they will give birth somewhere around December time. Probably between sort of November and the end of January they'll give birth to their little calves. And just a quick one there, you noticed there, of course, the white flash of the tail. We often say that anything white on the back end of an animal is a following mechanism. You can see there how as soon as she lifted her tail, it was so obvious. And in this vegetation, red and orange and brown and gold and sort of gingery colours blend in beautifully, but white sticks out immediately. So I'm pretty sure that's why they have that white tip to the tail. Right, let's move along slowly. Wingnut, it's been some time since we spoke. I'm sure that I'm wondering if you're the same Wingnut. I can't imagine there are two people in the world that would have called themselves Wingnut on Twitter. So wonderful to hear from you again. Thank you for getting hold of us. You say, which predators see in colour? And does camouflage actually work, I think, is your sort of main thrust of your question. none of the predators out here can see in color except the avian ones. So the birds probably, a few of the bird predators will be able to see in a semblance of color. But the whole question of camouflage is really interesting, especially at this time of the year. Sorry, 1 second. I thought I saw a zebra, but I did not. I did not, Brian. Don't worry. There was not a zebra there. So, wingnut, at this time of the year, the camouflage that animals have from their coloration is perfectly obvious. The kudu, the waterbuck especially, they look completely, they just disappear into this vegetation. As Brian said the other day, although in summertime the zebra looks so very obvious with their black and white stripes, when they move through this stuff, they kind of flicker in front of your eyes as though you're about to get a migraine headache. And I hope you aren't, because they're very beastly things. But that's the sort of effect that the color has in this vegetation. Then the lions, when you see them walking through this bush, they also disappear in the golden grass sometimes, but also amongst the leaf litter. The leopards, yesterday we watched Karula sitting almost out in the open, but if you were watching her from a certain distance, you couldn't even see that she was there. So camouflage at this time of the year particularly important. And that, of course, wingnut is because in summertime there's green, there's stuff for animals to hide behind. So that's two aspects of the camouflage story, which is very interesting and quite a long one. Let's head across to Brent, get an update from him. We're going to do one more circle of this block.
We had tracks. It looks like at least 3 lionesses back there. They have been driven over. I don't see them coming down here. There's a possibility they're in this area to the east of us. We're going to check round towards Quarry Pan. They've been spending a lot of time in these little river systems through here. I didn't see any cub tracks though, so I'm going to loop around. If I get nothing, then I'm going to go further to the west. Maybe the cubs are still around Hyena Road, Gari Cutline area. Checking very carefully. What was that now? It was a hyena. What, lion or hyena then? Whereabouts? So Vim has spotted some tracks. Ah, there, I see them. Okay, let's get a better spot here. Now, hi Yusuf. Yusuf is a new viewer. Yusuf would like to know whether I am a biologist. I am not, Yusuf, I'm a safari guide. So, biologists, I go more into the science. I just like looking at the animals and finding them. But we're going to have a look here. Try to figure out what's going on. There's actually leopard tracks here as well. But here we go. VM spotted these tracks. And judging from the size, it's a male lion. And that's his back foot, that's his front foot. Now what I really want to see is if there are cub tracks and lioness tracks around as well, because that'll let me know that the whole pride is in this area. Now here are the cub tracks from yesterday. I know those ones, I saw those yesterday. I also want to see which way. So when you see me drag my foot like that, it means I've seen a track. As I said, people have driven over them already today, which makes life a little bit difficult. That's why I'm jumping off the car to have a look. I can see a bit more closely when I'm on foot. And when they walk on hard ground like this, it can make it quite challenging. So we've got to try and figure out, did he go right or did he go left? Someone is driven all over my tracks. Difficult to find lines when you drive over the tracks. But there we go. So that's a male line. But yes, back to your question. Now, I'm not a biologist. I've grown up in the bush. So I've spent most of my life working in very wild areas, in lots of different countries. I just have a great love for nature and sharing nature with everyone. Except for people who drive over tracks. Don't like sharing nature with them. They make my life a little bit more difficult. What we're going to do is we're going to go down into the bottom, see if we can see some tracks on the soft sand. If not, we're going to go off to the left. Well, Lucy in South Bend, Indiana says, "VM's so good at spotting tracks." Well done, VM. Yes, VM, I must admit, out of Cam Ops is the best track spotter. And we're going to keep checking down here for tracks. While we do that, let's go see what Commander Bond's up to.
We're having a sense of deja vu, everybody. We came along here a little bit earlier on and we found no tracks coming in or out of this block, so I think our next plan is going to be to go towards Gaeligo Pan and see if we can't spot something having a drink there. I imagine, given the heat of the day and the thirsty work that is mating if you're a leopard, well, maybe they're going to be in need of something to drink fairly soon. Otherwise, I'm not really sure what they could be doing. This block is very large, and if they haven't crossed out of it, they will eventually. We'll go and see what else we can find. Anyway, any other thoughts? No thoughts on whether or not it was indeed shadow? Anybody disagree that it was shadow? I'm happy to accept it was shadow. Especially for those, because I think quite a few of you actually saw it happening. Monique, you're in London and wondering about the hormonal state of shadow and whether she would, if she mated, go off and sort of leave her cub, forget about the cub. I don't know. Given her record, I'd say yes, quite possibly that she would forget about the cub. But I'm not, it's forget about, I don't know, become slightly neglectful or aggressive towards, yes, she could possibly. She certainly started getting aggressive with Sindile very early on during her estrus cycle last time round, when she, just around about when she conceived Zara actually. Now, I'm just breaking off some bark here because I'm decided I'm going to taste all of the bark that the elephants are eating at the moment. This is Peltophorum africanum, the weeping wattle, and as Brian and I read the other day as we were driving down to Cheetah Plains, it's an excellent source of forage for all animals. There you are, Brian. Brian, not saying that Brian's an animal, of course. I wouldn't eat it completely, I would just give it a bit of a suck.
Woo.
That's not good, is it?
Ooh, that's terrible.
Ooh.
Ooh, that's nasty. That's not a good time.
That's very horrible. Let's try the leaves, because the leaves, I think, are probably more the forage. No, they're eating the bark, the elephants. There you are.
Thank you.
Better. Not delicious though. Not delicious at all. And here is the evidence that they are eating the bark of the Peltophorum africanum tree. Brian? Have I got anything in my teeth?
No, it looks good.
Okay, great, excellent. Yeah, you don't want to have spinach stuck in your teeth. You know what I mean. It looks awful. Yeah. Okay. Good. All right. Well, we'll move on then. See if we can find that happens. Sorry. On we go. Sorry about that, Louise. Louise is in final control, everybody. I can just see her shaking her head. You know, it tastes like gall. You say, what does it taste like? It's like gall. It's bitter, bitter, bitter. As soon as your tongue touches the bark there, that inner bark, it's really disgusting. It's really bitter. The leaves are pretty tasteless. No, they don't taste too bad. Yeah, they're fine. They're not quite as good as Sisyphus, but they're not great. They're not too bad. We've got a white-crowned shrike up there, Brian. Now it's down on the ground. And now it is being mauled by a Burchell starling. Did you see that? That is amazing. Obviously there's some source of food there, perhaps some termites, that the poor old white-crowned shrike thought he'd like to eat. The Burchell starling, simply on account of the fact that he's bigger, and he's now being chased off by a hornbill. So the hierarchy amongst birds that want to eat termites is determined purely by the size of the bird. I can't see what it is that they're eating, but I'm going to assume it's termites on the ground there that have probably come out or been opened up and exposed by an animal. Strange northeasterly wind, everybody, again. These are harbingers of very powerful weather, I believe. And then just have a listen. There are quite a few nice calls going on here. You're probably just going to hear the wind, but you might also hear the scimitar going. In fact, Brian, you see, top of that tree, top of the knobthorn there is a scimitar. I know that. There, you can hear it calling. I know that many of you are keeping bird lists, and the scimitar is not always an easy one to get on camera. There's also a chin spot batis up there. There's a southern black tit. I can hear it going. And also a broo, the telephone bird. Did you see it there, or was it all behind the sticks?
I think it's all behind the sticks.
All behind the sticks. The one notable sound absent from this particular juncture is, of course, the sound of mating leopards. There's the Burchell starling again. I tried my hand today at the mating leopard sound, everybody. Brent Leo Smith is definitely the best at mating leopard sound. And Brian didn't think I did too badly.
No, you did quite well.
Thank you, thank you. So Ellen Fowler, one of our resident leopard experts, says that she did not see them actually mating. So although she wanted it, Tingana seemed to be reluctant. That's quite common for him, isn't it? I mean, he always looks like he really couldn't be bothered until the actual act is performed, if you like. And Ellen, you said you thought your gut feeling was that it might be in Kanyeni. But even though there were a few spots matched to shadow, so that's quite interesting. What about the postulation that it could be Shiluva? Is that possible? She obviously, we don't know her very well, but we know she's been mating with the Mvula. We know that these leopards do often mate with two different males if they're in estrus. Could that possibly have been Shaluva? Because that would have made quite a lot of sense to me, but I obviously, definitely couldn't possibly say from what I saw who it was. I keep looking on these termite mounds expectantly, hoping, but alas. And Shaluva, for those of you who don't know, everybody, is a leopard that comes from the north in Buffelshoek. And I actually don't know how old she is. I think she's about 5. I've actually never seen her. I saw a leopard once run across the front of the road on Sandy Patch, and we were all out doing a sort of a tracking evaluation, and somebody went, "Oh, it's Shaluva." I said, "How on earth did you know that?" "Well, it's the roundabout where she might live." And I said, yes. So, we are very good at making wild suppositions out here. That's quite fun, really, though. Wild suppositions, 99% of them are wrong, but one of them, it's the 1% that will lead to some kind of breakthrough in our knowledge. Right, we've come back to exactly the same place where we started, and we're now going to go down towards Gallagher Pan, I think. We'll see what we can find there. And we're just finding out, Brent is just finding out whether the kahumas were found this morning. And he's got one track, so let's go and find out how that tracking expedition is going.
So as I said, we're still in search. Now this looks like just the tracks of the males. So I'm going to head a little bit further to the west. Fingers crossed that the ladies are still lounging about somewhere in a nice shady spot, getting ready for an active afternoon. Okay, so this is where those male tracks were, but they've all been driven over. Sorry, I'm just on the radio for a second. Afternoon taxi, James went up towards Impala Plains. I did Weaver's Nest, then Gary Main, Cheetah Cutline. I'm working on Buffelshoek Dam. There's in Konzo, Wanuna Ngala, and Yellow at South Gori Pan. There was mating Ingwe. Last place I heard them this morning was between power lines, Zoe's Road, Impala Plains. I wasn't able to locate. I'm busy trying to follow up on Kovumas at the moment, but all the Nkonzo has been driven over. I got Nkonzo Wanuna, Nyala Road North, and Goripan Junction. The last visual of the one side to Mampimpan last night was in the Shkova off Gari cut line. There were 3 Wanuna there. I'm doing Nyala Road North now. I'm going to check Hyena next. So, we're giving Taxon an update. So he's got guests. He wasn't out this morning. So when we give an update to someone who wasn't out on drive that morning, you generally give them a bit more of a detailed update, because they weren't listening to the radio in the morning. Excuse me. Afternoon, yours. Probably confirm of males. Okay, copy. Thanks very much, Yossi. I'm going to look for the females. I'm going to check around Hyena and the drainage system of Gari cut line. Okay, so this is the area where they have been spending a lot of time. The reason the Nkuhuma Pride is choosing this area, there's so many of these wonderful little ravines to keep the cubs in and keep the cubs safe while they go hunting. Also, it's right in the center of Nkuhuma country, so it's very unlikely that they're going to bump into any marauding lions. So it's far from the peripheries where there might be females that aren't related to them, or males coming in. Whoa, sorry madam, didn't see you up there. A female kudu right on top of this termite mound next to us. Suddenly looked up and there was a kudu looking down at me. Here we go. Aubrey, what do you got, Philemons? Copy, thanks. Oh yeah, so it is quite windy and blustery, so a lot of the prey species are going to be a little bit jumpy this sunset safari. Where are the lions hiding? I'm sure the kudu don't know. Liam, do you know? Underneath the bushes. Yes, I think that's a very good answer. Underneath which bush exactly is what I'd like to know. So, chatting about tracking, Celia and Isaac would like to know what are the most common tracks we see. Well, those would generally belong to the most common antelope. The Impala are the most common tracks out here. And along with all the herbivores, elephant tracks very common, buffalo, kudu, zebra. Now of course all the prey species or herbivores occur at higher numbers than the predators, so there's always going to be more tracks of the other animals than lions, leopards. Out of the predators, the track we see the most often is probably hyena, as they patrol the biggest distances every night. And another one of the more common little nocturnal mammals tracks that we see is the African civet. Okay, Nkuhumas, enough of this dilly-dallying. Hi, Rachel in Virginia. Rachel says, is it scary to ride around in an open vehicle knowing there are lions around? Rachel, it is not at all. It's quite exciting actually. Well, Rachel, being in an open vehicle and close to lions and stuff makes about as no difference as compared to being in a closed vehicle. The benefit that an open vehicle gives us is we're able to see everywhere. I don't have any stuff in my way, and so can the camera move. But even if you notice the safari vehicles the other lodges use are all open, there's almost zero danger as long as you drive carefully and respectfully around the animals and read their behavior correctly. That's why, well, with an open vehicle, you normally have an experienced safari guide to drive you around. It makes for a far more pleasant experience when you've got someone in the front of the vehicle who knows what the lions are going to do before they do it. Reads their body language, and that's a lot of what we do, especially when lions actually pose far less a threat than something like elephants. And so reading the elephant's body language, knowing what herd's safe to approach closely, what herd's not, when an animal's in a heightened hormonal, heightened stress situation. Now, of course, that is all comes with a lot of time and experience, but it is less dangerous driving around out here in the African bush with all the lions and elephants than it is crossing any major street in a large city. Well, joy to the world. It looks like no one has driven down this road this morning, so hopefully if there are tracks, they will be unspoiled. are you hiding, kitty cats? While we keep in search of some of Djuma's big cats, let's go see how James's search for the evil hiding leopards is going.
They are slightly evil, I have to admit. Taxon has just come past. He has a tracker on the front of his vehicle called Fanotti, and with any luck they're going to do the same loop that we've just done and just see if I haven't perhaps missed some tracks, which is entirely possible. We're going to go down towards the pan, as I said. So, not much else going on. We had a very nice sighting of a crested barbet while you were with Brent. Unfortunately, the bird was too far away for this lens. Let's go and just look in the clearings here where there are some impala who are looking unfortunately relaxed. So no further thoughts on Shiluva, everybody, whether that might have been her or not. Now, when I heard them once this morning, Brian and I heard them once this morning, and I thought they were in here somewhere. But these impala do not indicate, from their generally relaxed dispositions, that they have heard any mating leopards in this vicinity. Right, let's just go around the corner here. Right, Raisa from Finland, another one of our resident experts. While we look at this bachelor herd of impala with one solitary little ewe there, that's interesting. You say, Raisa, and thank you for getting hold of us again. It's been a while since we've heard from you. A bit like with Wingnut. You say that you didn't watch the morning safari, but you did catch the video of the two leopards at the dam cam, and you say without a doubt it's Shadow. I tend to agree with you, and unfortunately I think that probably means that her cub is a war indeed, and if not now, well, probably quite soon. Anyway, time will tell. We might be quite wrong. Will not be the first time we've been proved wrong. One of these impala, unfortunately he's walked off now, has obviously got only one horn, and that is because he has been fighting over ladies. There he is. What on earth was that? There's a bird on a nest here somewhere that these impala nearly stood on, and that's what made them jump. I'm sure it's one of those Senegal lapwings. Let's just look. Right about where that one's eating there, Brian, the one closest to us is where that bird started yelling. Somewhere on the ground there, I suspect, a Senegal lapwing of having a nest. I can't actually see it. That is not surprising. A Senegal lapwing has an extremely hidden nest. Quite tempted to go and have a look. Go and have a quick look. You go and have a quick look, everybody. The impala will run away, don't worry. They will come back as and when they want to. I will do so in a very non-predatory fashion so that they do not panic. But they will move off, they will move outside of the flight distance. Now just look on the ground here. Ooh. There's much running around. That's actually quite beautiful. I thought they would just move off quietly. They've actually decided that they are deeply panicked by my physique. Now the bird started yelling round about here. There it is. Is it? Yes, it is. It's not a lapwing, it's a bronze-winged courser. Now, Brian, you see this tuft in front of me here? I don't want to disturb it. Now, the tuft in front of me, just in front of it, there's a bronze-winged courser. That's the second one I've spotted. And I think she's on a nest. Can you see her? If I come forward, we'll be able to see her. She's... can you see her at all? How cool is that? I've never seen a bronze-winged courser nest. We'll just go a little bit forward. I think we'll get a better angle from there. That is fantastic. That is so cool. It's my second nest of the season, Brian. You can call me Scott Dyson if you like. That is so amazing. There, you can see her, or him. There, you got him there. A big tuft of grass there, there we are. Can you believe it, everybody? There is a bronze-winged courser. They are beautiful birds. Very subtly coloured, but with those red, the red on their beaks and red around their eyes. And there's another one that I spotted first before I saw that one. I'm just trying to see if I can see it again. I can't, you know, I don't know where it is. It was slightly further back. And I'm really quite impressed with myself for spotting that, I have to tell you. I'm not known for my spotting skills. Brilliant. Well, we shall watch that nest with great interest over the coming weeks and months. Just zoom out there and just show everybody how impossible, unless you nearly stand on the bird, which I nearly did, that is to see. We'd never see that. You would never know that there were two ground-dwelling, nocturnal, coursing birds sitting in this clearing. And they just gave those Impala a warning, and the Impala very kindly moved off before they ran away at the sight of me. Rather insulted by that. Alright, let's leave the bronze-winged courser to itself and continue on our merry way. While we do that, let's get an update from Brent with his lion tracking, I think.
There we go, some pajamaed horses or striped donkeys, depending on what you prefer. Now we're going to be seeing a lot of them as we move towards October. It is very, very dry, and they're moving up, or moving in from the Manuletti and from the Western Kruger. Now they're bulk grazers trying to eke out an existence in this very dry crest. But the lion tracking is going pretty much like the leopard tracking went this morning. We've got tracks of some of the lionesses heading into an impenetrable area between Buffelshoek Dam and Hyena Road, but no tracks of the cubs. So I'm going to try and make my way towards the last position of the cubs. See if they might have been left overnight. So we actually get asked this relatively often with about all animals that have stripes, spots, squares and squiggles. And Sienna's asking about zebra. Will a zebra foal take on its mother's stripes? No, it will not, just like a leopard will not take on its mother's spots. So each individual zebra, each individual leopard is a complete unique individual, and it is impossible to try gauge mother and daughter or mother and son judging on their stripes. A lot of people see patterns that they think are similar, but unfortunately it's been scientifically proven many times with many species that is not possible. The only way to actually identify the mother and daughter or mother and son when it comes to zebra would be through genetics. Now, especially because they live in a harem and they'll just sort of mingle into one eventually. Okay, we're going to try see. This is the area where the cubs were left, or where the cubs were. I last saw the cubs on yesterday's sunset safari. So maybe they're still in this little river system here. Unfortunately, the majority of this little river system is impenetrable by vehicle. Very steep ravine, and it's what makes it a really great place for the lions to leave their cubs. It's unlikely that many other predators would feel the need to wander into those very steep ravines. It's unlikely that they're going to find any food there. Okay. Of course, we have been able to sometimes find our way into the bottom of these ravines with some, how would you put that, Jim? Technical driving or determined driving? One of the two, I'm not sure. Just having a quick look. Now, Tomei is wondering, has a lioness ever given me a look when I've been too close to cubs? Tomei, I would say one step beyond a look. Oh, there's a little Duiker. Oh, it was a little Duiker. Tomei, I have been charged by a lioness, and she stopped so close when she was growling and snarling at me. I had lion spit stuck all over my leg hair. And I've had almost the exact same with male lions before. It doesn't happen very often. I can think of only 3 serious charges I've stood down on foot. Most of the time it's a very... they normally growl before you get too close. But sometimes when the wind is up... Oh, Aubrey's just giving me a call. I'll tell you now. So just get up this steep hill. Standing by. FM Orbs, we lost them in the block between Zoe's Impala Road and the fire break. We had audio, but we didn't manage to locate them. Okay, sorry, Orbs is just wondering about the leopards we do not speak of that kept us busy all morning. But yeah, so I've been charged. Probably the scariest charge I've ever faced was from 2 male lions who are part of a pride of lions in the Kruger National Park, who are quite famous for man-eating. And so what happened is we were tracking the mountain pride. There was a Nat.Geo documentary made on them when they were called the Mega Pride. And Glass Maramane, who was my tracker at the time, him and I parked the vehicle, set off after the tracks. Now there's a very simple rule when you're dealing with lions on foot. Noisy lion, safe lion. Quiet lion, dangerous lion. So if a lion's snarling, growling, slapping the ground, it's telling you too close, go away. If a lion comes quickly, it's a different story. So Glass and I went through a little river system like this, following the tracks. We came out to a big flat open area on the other side, and we spotted the lions. And normally when you spot the lions at a distance, they're about 80 meters away, they normally lift their heads up, growl, maybe try to sneak away. But they had some new males in that pride who had come up from northern Kruger, where there are areas very famous for man-eating of Mozambican immigrants trying to cross into South Africa. and these two males got up and they just came straight, not a sound. And my tracker Glass, she said, shoot them. I of course did not want to shoot a lion inside a national park, so I said, throw rocks at them was my reply. We stood our ground and we started shouting. We might have used some bad words while we were shouting at this point, and those male lions stopped. I don't know. So those male lions stopped. We were standing about here. So this is where we're standing. 1, 2, 3. That's where the male lions stopped. And as they stopped, I mean, they're coming at about 90 kilometers an hour. You just imagine that stop. All that dirt and stuff just whacked into us, this cloud of dust. I had the rifle loaded and low, and Glass was standing next to me, picking up any little bit of rock and throwing at them. So the most important thing is not to run in those situations. If we had run, we would have been eaten, and put it that way. And when you carry a rifle, if an animal really wants to hurt you, you don't have any time to do anything. I mean, the only reason I had time to chamber around is because they stopped. If they'd kept coming, I would have been halfway through loading the rifle and I would have been bowled over. The only reason we survived is because we didn't run. It took us about half an hour to get out of that situation. So if you work with a tracker, and a very good tracker, you've got to have incredible trust. So I've got a loaded rifle up against my shoulder like this. What he does is he slips his finger through the back of your belt and he leads you backwards. So you can't take your eyes off the line, and in case you step over a log or whatnot, he'll warn you. And so it took us about 20 minutes. Every time we'd take a step, they would go, boo! And this was all going on. The guests were not that far away. They were probably about 100 meters away. Can you imagine you're on your first African safari from America, and all you can hear is your guide screaming, "What's that?" Beep, 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 beep. And it's someone else shouting in some African language, and the lions going, "Bah!" So we had earpieces at Singita like this. So the one lady grabs the radio and goes, oh my God, my ranger's been eaten by a lion." Of course, now she doesn't know why no one's answering her, because all the sound's coming through here. And there was complete panic. Vehicles start driving from all over the reserve up to the north where we were. And by about 20 minutes we got back there. Completely fine. Absolutely, both of us, Glass and myself, were 100% fine. And then I unloaded the rifle, pushed the rounds back, made the rifle safe, put the rifle back in the gun rack, and then my hands just started going, and I was trying to get into the car, and I kept doing this. I could not, and Glass was doing the same thing on the other side. But yeah, that was probably the scariest lion charge I've ever faced, because it started off quietly. So, but the wonderful thing about those situations is you learn so much from them. Sorry, I'm just listening to the radio. Okay, so there we go. I hope that answers you about the lion story. I just want to have a quick peer. Okay, let's have a look. This is where the cubs were. So let's see if we can have a look over that cliff. See if there's not a cub sleeping in the bottom of this. This is where they were yesterday. Anything down there, VM? Oh, there's a lion log. A beautiful light on a piece of dry wood. You see that one, VM? Let me go forward a bit. See the one that looks like it could be a lion? There we go. Beautiful light shining off of a dry piece of wood. And I think they have moved the cubs from here. I think we would have seen some little heads pop up if we had off-roaded. Right, so no lions, which leads me to believe that they are in that block between Burchells Hook Dam and Hyena Road. A very, very difficult area. Now, straight enough, I have never been charged by the Djuma Pride, and I've walked them many, many times on foot. I have been half growled at once. It is abnormal to be charged by lions. If you're walking them during the day, 99.9% of the time, they'll try and move away from you. Now, although it's the same principle with leopards, quiet leopard, dangerous leopard, noisy leopard, safe leopard, when they're charging. We used to have a male leopard called he had a couple of different names. The bicycle crossing male was one. We used to know him as Shorty, or the short-tailed male. He was because his mom only had half a tail, he just inherited the name. He had a full-length tail. But he was a very strange leopard. Sometimes he'd just lie on a turn around and look at you while you tracked him. Other times he would charge you. Now a leopard is faster than a lion and it charges from a much closer distance. And what would happen, we'd be tracking him through a little river system like this, and then all of a sudden the bush around you would turn into a roaring jumbo jet. And his favorite thing is he'd charge you from one side, stop a meter from you, then run behind you, charge you from behind, and then again and again. All you had to do was just stand there till he was finished. You just go lie down like thump and look at you. I was like, I taught you. You know, you're not going to do that again. But he was always fun to walk, the short-tailed male. Now, in a vehicle, leopard we used to see quite regularly when I first started was Djuma. But strangely enough, he never charged me once on foot, and I walked him many, many times. He used to like charging cars. Maybe got a bigger kick out of it. Okay, so no sign of the lions coming this way. Maybe there'll be some ellies heading towards the Djuma waterhole. That would be quite pleasant. I feel like I haven't got my fair share of elephant fixes for the last while. Chanel says she loved the story, Brent versus charging lions and freaked out tourists. Yes. The one little part I did forget to mention what happened. So quite often on safari you'll have, at Singisi you only have a maximum of 6 people on your safari vehicle, and they're normally couples from different places. And we had 4 Americans and two Pongs or Brits. And the one Brit, she had quite a good sense of humour. Once we got into the vehicle and I managed to... Quick link to James!
This way to the left, yeah.
Okay. Everybody, we don't know what we've seen here. It's got spots, it's got yellow skin. We thought it was a leopard. Whatever it is, it's quite shy. We've been bashing through here trying to find it, and I'm just hoping that we're going to get another view so that we can confirm exactly what it is. Could be a serval. Just saw it slinking through here. We've done a long loop through the bush. We thought we might catch up with it, and then we did. But we haven't actually managed to get it on camera yet. Just heard the bird's alarm calling. That's what attracted me to the area. And then I looked in and I just saw these spots slinking through, and I assumed it was a leopard. You'll excuse me not making eye contact with you while I talk, but we just need to try and see. Brian then got a spot of it here. I've seen it twice. What it is... We just thought we'd better bring you across here, because if we only get one more view, we want you to see it. Brian, you saw it walking down through here, did you? I just assumed it was a leopard, but it might well not be. Let's just listen for the birds. Birds have stopped calling. I think whatever it is has gone to ground. It could be a cheetah. Right, here comes Aubrey. I'm just going to quickly get hold of him. Sorry everyone, I maybe have dragged you away from Brent for no reason, because you see, you can't hear anything, can you, Brian?
No.
And it's so thick in here. Orbs, do you copy? I'm just calling Aubrey, everyone. Oh, what's your position? Orbs, I've got one more view where I am here. I'm just north of your position. I don't know that it was a leopard. It may have been a cheetah. But whatever it was quite shy. We got one more view and then it moved off again. We're going to keep trying in here. So Aubrey said he saw 2 monkeys in some trees close by. I think we need to keep moving like we did back then. Where this thing's gone, I'm not sure. Alright, now everybody, you're gonna come with us on this expedition to see if we can find whatever it was, because Brent's doing his National Geographic filming stuff. So there's going to be a little bit of noise. That's okay, because I'm just fascinated to know what it is we've seen in here. So come along on the adventure, excuse the noise, and with any luck we'll get a little view of whatever it was. You okay there, Brian? We'll do our best not to lose Brian off the back. And it was just walking very quietly, but the fact that as soon as we came off road I couldn't see it anymore indicated to me that whatever it was is perhaps a little bit nervous of the vehicles. But maybe not. This will be incredibly frustrating if we don't see it again, mainly because I don't know what it was. It had yellow fur and spots. That's all I can tell you. Right, Brian? So we'll just have a look around here, I think, for the next 15 minutes or so, and then we'll go and see what else we can see. The elephants have made such an unspeakable mess in here that it is almost impossible to move without making a horrendous noise. Which, if you're looking for a slightly nervous animal, makes things very difficult. Watch heads, everyone, no thorns. There certainly are, James Richard. You say the spotted cats are supplying us with many mysteries today. Absolutely they are. And we're being followed, we're being trailed as we speak by a fork-tailed drongo that is looking for the whatever sort of invertebrates get kicked up by our movements through the bush here, in the same way that they would follow a herd of buffalo or elephants. So Brian, you reckon it turned on and came down this way, eh?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I'm through there. These trees will pop up, most of them, everyone. You can see the one in front of us has been run over before. But we won't get through here, of course, because the elephants have since placed a rock in the way. I'm afraid I think we've just been lucky. Hello Dina, you're suggesting I use my intuition rather than trying to chase it down and befall on it using intuition to come out. Well, I can certainly try and do that. I don't really think we're chasing it down so much as looking carefully in the bushes for it. But I take your point. Hello Nisha in North Carolina. You're wondering about whether a serval is fast like a cheetah. No, nothing like. A serval is half the size of a cheetah, quarter the size of a cheetah. And they sort of hunt small rodents. A cheetah, no, don't travel together normally, especially if it's a female. She'll be on her own. The males form little coalitions of brothers sometimes. But they don't travel together by default. They're solitary, the females. And I don't think this one had any babies. I truly don't know what it was. I just saw it slinking off into the bush. We came through, then we got one more view of it. Did you think it was a leopard?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just saw it slinking.
It's very odd.
You could see
Yeah.
the shoulder blades moving.
It's a cat.
It's a cat, definitely.
Anyway, I don't know. I don't know what to say. Let's head out. I think we're going to... Yeah, this is Aubrey. No, nothing Aubs. It's very thick in here. I think let's make our way back out onto the road and see if we aren't lucky. And we might have to go and see what else we can find. We can go down to... I went down to the Gallagher Pan, that's why we're in this area. And I just wonder... You all right there, Brian? I just wonder if we don't go back there, whether it won't have left some tracks that will give us some kind of indication as to what it was. Unspeakable noise. Let's keep looking, everybody. Keep looking from side to side. We could be lucky. It might not be. And Mary, you're wondering how often we come across serval or other smaller cats on drive. Really, Mary, not very often at all. We've seen serval probably, I don't know, maybe a handful of times. I've seen them twice. I think Brent's seen them, Brian's seen them twice. They're actually probably of the small cats, the ones we do see the most. African wildcat, I think we've had one decent sighting of. Jamie had a good sighting of them for about 2 hours, but still only one individual. And caracal, I don't think they've ever... Has caracal ever been seen on Safari Live? I don't think they have. In theory they could exist here, but I'm not sure they've ever been seen. No, everyone, I'm afraid not. We can't keep bashing through here all day long, so I think we'll have to go out onto the road. I can't believe it. Ah, what a pity. Hello Adam, you think our eyes are playing tricks on us? You're probably right. Let's go to the pan, see if we can't find some tracks. But before we do that, actually, let's go up. Let's go a little bit up the road here. Just see if whatever it is hasn't popped out onto the road. It's just in here somewhere. And Brian spotted it first, at least second, as it was going through here, just before you came live, and I thought, here we go, we're going to have a sighting. But alas and alack, nothing. I'm just going to go up here to where the drainage line crosses. Let's see if while we were in there it didn't pop out. Moving the other way, do you think? Yeah. So it might turn and come this way. Its original direction was this way. The reason it was immediately struck by how I thought maybe it wasn't a leopard was the fact that they don't normally move through thick bush like that unless they are kind of hunting, and cheetahs will do exactly what that thing did. Leopards stick to game paths because they find it easier. Cheetahs will avoid game paths. That's Aubrey just up in front of us. Now, I'm afraid I think we're going to give this up. Let's just quickly have a chat with Aubrey. Aubrey, nothing there. Yeah, sorry man. I think it was nervous and it ran off. Not sure what road this is. We might just drive along it briefly. Taxon is in there already. Oh, he's coming back out though. Tax confirm nothing that side.
Yeah, alerted, Jim. Don't see anything.
Yeah, he's got nothing there. Sorry about that, everybody. We're going to have to go and find something else. Sorry, Brian.
It's okay, James. I'm also sorry.
I'm glad that you saw it, though, because otherwise people would think that I was going stark raving loony.
Yes, I think both of us are.
Yeah, about your side. Kathy, you say the sides of Wendy and Rusty and Jigger quite sort of destroyed from our efforts. Yes, they don't look great. You wouldn't want to arrive at a gala dinner in one of these cars. Listen. No, I couldn't tell, Tex. I'm just hearing Bird's alarm call again. That's how we found it originally. It just slunk so cat-like through the bush. Oh. Okay, let's go back to the waterhole, see what we can find there, and then we'll move on from there. There might be one or two buffalo there. Perhaps an elephant will come down and have a drink. He's got tracks. Tracks of a male leopard. Taxon's got. I don't think that was a male leopard. I think it was too big. Copy that. Fresh? No, it says they're relatively fresh. So they were in here. Sorry, Louise, go again with that question. Hello Nisha, North Carolina. You've seen us eating various bits and pieces. You say, have we ever eaten anything that's made us sick out here? I haven't. Brian, have you?
No.
No, I'm actually very careful about what we do eat. And if I've never seen an animal eating it and I don't know what it is, then I won't touch it. These aren't the mating pair in here, because now Taxon's got male and female tracks. Deborah, you say you get worried with us pushing bushes into our mouths all the time. Deborah, like I say, I'm very careful about which ones we eat. It's never a good idea to go into the wilderness, especially if you are a younger viewer. Don't go into the wild and eat something you cannot identify. All these ones I know the trees of this area pretty well, and if I don't know a tree, I won't put it in my mouth. We're very careful about it. Now, Taxon has got female leopard tracks as well, and male. Maybe it's the pair that came down to have a drink here. I'm going to look at the road here quite carefully, but we're going to listen. And just listening to Aubrey. So
from this morning.
Aubrey's saying he's got tracks.
Okay.
Let's go to where we saw her cross the road, or whatever it happened to be. As we came round this corner, I heard the bird's alarm calling, and Brian and I were chatting and looked in there and saw this thing slinking through. Now, let's see if we can't find a track.
The animal route is about 9 kilometers on the road from Lost Band to Green Band, just near the cliff.
And it was right in there. Exactly where you're looking now. And we couldn't go off the road here, so we went round the corner, and by the time we got into the bush, she was gone. Or he or it, whatever it was. I've come back to the road to Gallagher Pan. Hello, Cat and Tamby. You're wondering if Herbert isn't around to help us. I wish he was. Unfortunately, he's had to go home. He's got a tummy bug, so he's gone home to recuperate. And absolutely, he would be the ideal man to have in this job, because he could walk through there. He could spot the tracks far more efficiently than I'm able to. Anyway, let's go straight to the waterhole, see if there isn't something else going on there. Maybe that was the female, she was wandering through there, she left the male. I just don't think it was a leopard though. The more and more I think about it, the less leopard-like I think it was. Oh well, Tax and Aubrey are in the area, they've both got trackers, so I mean, if there's something here that we could have seen, I've no doubt they will find it, if we can get to it in a vehicle. This block, as you've seen, is rather hellish for driving through. And that is why, and it's another wonderful lesson as to why the ears are so very important out here. We only found it because of the animal's alarm calling at it. Here are some beefaloes. Here are many, many beefaloes. Oh, it's a bachelor's convention, Brian. It's a lovely soundtrack in the background there, isn't it? It's the sound, everybody, of ceilings being put into the DRC. Oh, let's just stop and have a little listen here while we enjoy these buffalo. There's the fellow there. Just look at him. Now, I was very kindly sent a message from somebody on Twitter about who that fellow looks like, because I couldn't remember. And it's a character. I'm going to look quickly now. There's a picture of it. Hang on one sec, everyone. Look at him. You see how he looks like he's whited out his face? Let me see if I can find it again quickly. It's very funny. You can see he's lost his horn, poor fellow. Oh, and he's not surprised he's lost his horn given the amount of tree he's breaking with them. I think I'm nearly there. Hang on, just keep patient, everybody. Enjoy the look of him. No, I can't find it anymore now. I've forgotten the name. I said he looked like he looked like that character from Live and Let Die in a James Bond film, and looked like he belonged in a... Oh, there are more birds alarm calling here. He looked like he belonged in a New Orleans carnival, I thought. You see him there? I just want to quickly see if we can't find the picture while we're waiting here. It's a good idea to just sit and listen for a little while. No, I can't find it, I'm afraid. Never mind. Okay, let's go around the corner now and see if we can't get a sight of whatever it is that those birds are alarm calling at. There are 2 or 3 species of bird alarm calling here. It's exactly what I heard when we saw the other thing. Whatever it was. Ooh, there's much crossness in these birds. Hello, you funny looking fellow. Can you hear all the birds, everyone? They're deeply upset about something. Yes, I think Louise makes a very good point. She says he looks a bit like a French mime and he's going to get stuck in a transparent mud wallow just now. Very good, Louise. It's very amusing. I can't see anything popping out of the bushes here that might be spotted. Let's keep going. There. Something running through the bush here. It may have just been a francolin. I suspect quite strongly it was. Oh, it's a Duiker. Fantastic. Look at that. Genius. Brian, we've solved the mystery.
Hurrah!
We have found the Duiker. Let's go home and celebrate.
We can rest easy.
Yes.
Hooray!
Hooray, yippee.